a Down are an American metal band from Glendale, California. They were formed in 1994 by Serge Tankian, Darren Malakian, Shavo Odadjian, and Andy Kachachurian, who was the last one of those replaced in 1997 by John Dolmayan. So they're all of Armenian descent, and they all end in Yan. They had a break from 2005 to 2010. They have released 5 studio albums, but none since 2005, which was before the break. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was their first album, and this may be the first time that I've heard this album. I have come across System of a Down. I have heard some of their albums before. I don't think I've heard this one before. I first discovered System of a Down actually about the time around their kind of first, second album sort of period, which was a period in time when I was watching quite a lot of MTV. I shared a house with a guy who was quite into alternative, and we discovered various aspects of metal and some new punk and stuff like that we quite enjoyed together. And System was a Down, one of those, were one of those that kind of attracted our attention. I would describe this as being, broadly speaking, heavy metal. That comes as no surprise, I guess, with a kind of injection of little bits of Armenian folk. And again, I don't think that's a huge surprise given the Armenian heritage of all the people involved. But the end result is quite varied and distinctive. They have been accused of being prog metal. They don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, certainly for this album. I want to float an idea here, which is I recognise in other areas. So there's prog of all sorts of things: prog rock, prog folk, prog, yeah, you name it. And certainly in the prog rock world, there's a kind of halfway between normal rock and prog rock, which is art rock, which is music that's intelligent and varied to an extent more than normal, but not quite as full-on experimental or full-on kind of the use of odd rhythms and stuff as progressive. Progressive seems to have become some particular aspects these days anyway. So my argument here is that this is, you can guess what's coming, this is art metal. And the term does exist. I'm not sure if I'm using it perfectly rightly, but I think it applies. Anyway, let's move on to the actual album rather than my philosophising. Serge Tankian is the vocalist here, and he's very versatile. So he sings, he raps, he growls, he screeches, he does death metal roars, and he does silly voices. The music is often quite fast and sometimes quite abrupt. It's got sometimes gaps in the music, silences, and the whole thing is done with a kind of dark humour to the music. I don't know how you can describe music as I can understand having music as humour, but there's kind of dark humour, and I don't really know why. Anyway, but it's there. And there's a lot of energy to it. There's a really good musicianship. They're very technically good. Being together and getting complex ideas done quickly and cleanly and tight. The subject matter is less than some metal bands about fantasy and evil and very depressing things, but there's a certain amount of depression here. There's more about war and politics. There's some possible religious ideas. There's certainly stuff about state of mind and that sort of thing. Lyrically, at times, it's quite opaque. That's okay. And the overall effect is one that I quite enjoy. So I do like some metal. I'm quite picky about metal. I tend to lean towards the prog end of metal. Not always. There has been some metal that I've enjoyed that hasn't been at that end. But the fact that this has got the added qualities of being somewhat complex, and being definitely quite intelligent and inventive in the way it's been presented. Those are things that endear it to me quite strongly. So, yeah, I quite enjoy this quite a lot, actually. And so I'm going to invite you, as I always do at this point, to let me know what you think by typing in the comments box. That's it from me for now.